Our next keynote speaker for the day is Breen, Managing Director of PMI for Asia Pacific region. He's also the head of global construction, where he oversees business development and represents the chapters in the region. Ben will also spearhead the construction working group for greater reach and focus. Ben has a Bachelor of Engineering degree in Building Engineering from Victoria University of Technology in Melbourne, Australia. And before joining PMI, Ben served as Managing Director, Southeast Asia at Space Matrix Design Consultants Pte. Limited, Singapore, where he was responsible for servicing Space Matrix's clients who were looking to expand a global footprint across Asia. He has also led the company's digital transformation, moving it to the forefront of digital technology for interior design and building firms. Originally from Australia, Ben moved to Singapore in 1994 and has since supported and led hundreds of projects, including iconic developments such as Marina Bay Sands and the award-winning Suntec Convention Center. He has also founded several project management and design companies, helping them to grow and develop into best-in-class providers. So over to Ben from Singapore now.
Thank you, Ganesh. That was a great introduction. Thank you.
Thanks.
And certainly, I learned a lot from Stephen's presentation, which was also very, very interesting. So hopefully you can see my slides.
Yes, Ben.
Okay, excellent. So look, construction is a passion of mine, and I have been, as you mentioned, Ganesh, working on some really interesting projects around Asia for more than 25 years now, and Marina Bay Sands was an amazing project, multiple billions of dollars in a very short period of time, and an interesting, complex project. And look, I joined PMI about 18 months ago, and it was to head up the Asia Pacific region for PMI, but also to really focus on the construction industry and make sure that PMI was staying relevant and really at the forefront of discussions around construction. And look, we had quite a few of our members that were saying that they didn't think that PMI had the same focus in construction that they used to have. There has been a lot of discussions about agile, and they were saying, well, let's bring it back to what we used to talk about. We had special interest groups that were set up that were no longer running. So I came on board really to make sure that we continued that discussion and made sure that that we were serving our members' requests. And what happened is about a year or so ago, a little bit longer, we were discussing with Saudi Aramco, which is one of our large partners, and they were talking about, the issues they were having in delivering projects, and they were literally doing billions of dollars of projects every single year. And they started talking to us about how can we make sure that we're a lot more efficient than we are right now. And they were specifically talking about pain points that they were having in construction. And then we started to widen that discussion to other PMI members and then reaching out to other construction companies, and they had the same sort of pain points. So it was really something that was all around the world having the same issues, and we thought, well, let's do something about it. So what we did is, our vision effectively was to really transform the global construction industry, and that's a big goal, but we're confident that we can actually do that. So we essentially, we're designing something for the industry that is from industry experts, so from construction experts. And what we decided to do was to design and build a course that would address these issues, and we would develop 7 different modules at the moment that would specifically get to the heart of the issues that we were seeing in the industry. And at the end of that, we can have a certification after completing an exam at the end of those modules. So we got together with Saudi Aramco. We got together with others like CII. Stephen is involved. We have Larsen and Tabro as well, who are on the call today as well, and set up an expert panel, and I'll talk a bit more about that shortly. But we're also setting up a global industry forum. We wanted to make sure that we have a place where people can get together and talk about the challenges that they have in construction. We can talk about best practices. We can talk about the future. And hopefully we can do that face-to-face in the not so distant future. And it was really sort of mobilizing the community around construction. And then in terms of benefits, we clearly looking at improved efficiency, getting better results, and that will translate into more profitability as well. People will be able to get a certificate at the end of it. There will be excellent networking, as I mentioned, with the industry forum, and great access to thought leadership in engineering and construction. So that was the aim. And what we started to do then was reach out to the community. We did some surveys to find out what were the issues, and it went out to more than 40,000 PMPs in construction. And we started getting statistics like this, that project delays were 72% of the time they were occurring on projects. 70% of participants experienced scope creep on the projects. 40% exceeded the original timeline, and 73% ended up over budget. So they're pretty scary numbers. They really are. And if you look at that in terms of wastage, for every $1 billion spent, there's $127 million wasted. So again, it's a huge number, and it's more than other industries. So the construction industry is notoriously wasteful. So that's why what Stephen was saying, that's just a fantastic direction to make a difference in that sort of thing. So we started specifically asking questions like, what is relevant to the teams? What is it that they wanted to learn about? And you can see there that the scope triangle came out #1, together with scope and change order management. Communication was high on the list, as you would expect. And then others: contract process, health and safety, claims, dispute, etc. And we wanted to also understand what is important to them specifically in their role. And again, very similar things: scope triangle, effective project communication, change management, etc. So this was really helping us to understand the landscape and therefore make sure that we could tailor make something to suit these particular issues. In terms of the most important skills for your role, so leadership was #1 with 35%, then communication, cost control, decision making, and contract management. And then we sort of zoomed in and focused on people with 5 to 15 years of experience, and we asked them to rate the skills that were most important to them. So we had things like leadership, contract management, decision making, communication, cost control. So there was definitely some themes that were occurring here. So then we looked a bit more broadly at the construction industry landscape, and we can see things like the coronavirus obviously has had a very big impact on the construction industry. Definitely things like infrastructure. We talked about in the US with Joe Biden's commitment to spend trillions of dollars, and that's what's needed. So things like that. Healthcare will definitely be a focus area as well, but a lot less so on hospitality, retail, entertainment. And another key focus was on worker safety. I mean, even just bringing workers back to site in a safe manner. And there's a lot of things that have been coming in that will continue to be done. Virtual meetings, I mean, that's just standard now. And in fact, it has helped in some ways, because previously you might have had to have a face-to-face meeting with somebody, but now you can get people dialing in from all around the world. So you actually have a broader voice and an opinion coming in. And the other thing is that modularization and prefabrication, again, Stephen talked about that. That will be a lot more common. It'll be done off-site, done off-site, and then brought in and assembled on-site. Then just looking at, this is the traffic light system, which, as I was talking about in terms of, institutional in particular, is where governments will be spending, infrastructure as well, and energy and utilities. Look, it's clear that governments all around the world are spending a significant amount of money just to stimulate the economies, make sure that there are jobs being created very regularly. So that's what we're going to see, and we think we can certainly help in that respect. And then from a digital perspective, so things like a digital supply network is a must-have. Even on remote projects in far-flung locations, you still need to have that connectivity. Robots coming in and definitely having an impact. Automated installation of things like bricks. We're seeing drones being used on a lot of projects. I think Saudi Aramco, Petronas, for example, they're using drones to fly out and check the pipelines. And they literally have rooms with young kids sitting in there just controlling these drones. So it's very interesting to see that. And then artificial intelligence as well. There's no doubt that that's already having an impact, and it will continue to have a larger impact in future as well. And then continuing on, looking at construction technology, only 18% of firms reported consistently using mobile apps. So it's a very low number. 63% are using drones, which actually was higher than I thought. 33% are saying that they would use wearable technology in the future. And 75% of companies are using cloud storage. So again, that's very much the norm. And then if you look on the right-hand side here, 95% of data captured in construction and engineering goes unused. So that to me is another amazing statistic, because the data is only as good as what you do with it. So if you're capturing it and not doing anything with it, then it's useless. 59% of the workforce doesn't have the skills to use BIM. And remember that BIM's been around for something like 40 years. 19% of UK construction firms say that their projects are entirely paper-based. And I think that's quite scary as well. And then if you look at the big players around the world, 7 of the top 10 are actually from China. And that they are huge companies with revenues of, up to $200 billion. So huge numbers. And then if you look at that across the world, as you can see, the top 3 in China are really leading the way. Then it's followed by Europe, APAC, North America, Latin America, India. And I think India will be definitely jumping up on that list. There is a lot of money being spent on infrastructure. You can see our friends at Larsen and Toubro are heading the list there, so well done. But I think there is a lot more to come. And then we started looking at the addressable market, and according to the US Bureau of Employment, the stats that they show is it's about 257 million people in the construction industry, of which about 29 million are specifically construction management roles. And then companies like McKinsey put out some very interesting papers talking about the key trends, and they say the 9 shifts that will occur. Industrialization, sort of off-site production and new efficiencies, new materials, new technology, lightweight materials, so it's helping with logistics and delivery and installation. The digitalization side of it with BIM and smart buildings and new technology coming in. And the other key thing is that the new entrants. So they say, it's not about the competition that right now. It's actually about kids working from home in their garage coming up with the next thing that will absolutely change the industry. And McKinsey as well is saying that the construction industry represents 13% of global GDP. And in a 5-year period, private equity firms raised more than $388 billion to fund infrastructure. And that included $100 billion in 2018 alone. So incredible numbers. And 69 trillion in global infrastructure investment would be needed through 2035. And also that there's a huge skill shortage in construction all around the world. So 41% of the current US construction workforce is expected to retire by 2031. So that has a large impact. So then let's start talking about what we have done, what we've set up, and what we did is we got together with some of the biggest companies in the world, and you can see them here. I've mentioned Larsen & Toubro and CII. We're also working with the Lean Construction Institute and some big players, you know, US Army, DPR Construction, Petronas, the Irish transport infrastructure. So some excellent minds that have come on board and really helping us to create something special here. So for the last 6 months, we've been meeting every week or every other week and just discussing what those pain points are, determining how we can address them. So it's real sort of brainstorming, as you can see here, the sort of virtual Kanban sessions where everyone is getting involved and giving their opinion. And then we go off and create content from that, and we're then putting that into an e-learning experience as well. So from that expert panel, we determined there would be 3 different levels of certification, and focusing on the levels of experience in terms of 0 to 5 years, 5 to 15 years, and 15 years and above. And the biggest market and the biggest requirement, according to the panel, was the 5 to 15 years. So that's the one we've been focusing on creating. And we have already started on 7 modules. I think we've now completed 4 of those in terms of the brainstorming to get the content. And I'll talk about the time frame shortly, but we're going to start launching very, very soon. So you can see here the 3 different certificates that I mentioned, 7 courses that we would be looking at, 2 micro certifications in there as well. We would really have a strong focus. You can see things here like effective communication, which is the first module, scope and change order management, which is the second, interface management is the third, materials management and performance metrics is the fourth. The fifth is bringing in that advanced work packaging that we spoke about. So it's workforce planning, lean, or last planner system, pre-commissioning, etc., etc. So there's some wonderful things here that we're creating. And the best thing about this is it's very modular, so that we can, if our customers come to us and say, here is a specific thing that we want to focus on, then we can get a group together and start delivering exactly what our customers are looking for. And then this industry forum that we want to set up, it's really to bring experts from all around the world to network, to present the latest thinking, talk about the way that the industry is changing and how they would like to change it. So it's really getting together regularly, speaking to wonderful people. It's also giving opportunities for companies to come and speak and talk about what they're doing and the impact that it can have. And so we're looking forward to putting that together as well. So then in terms of the time frame, you can see here between May to November, we would be creating these 7 modules. The first module, in fact, we are just about to send that out to a group for beta testing so that we can get some really good feedback and tweak it to improve it. So yeah, that will start happening in May. And you can see that we're delivering the first two at the same time. Then we'll focus on the third and the fourth in July, and then the last three coming out in September and November as well. And what we have done already is more of an alpha testing. So it's a smaller group just to get feedback. And these are people that have not been involved in the creation. So we deliberately wanted outsiders to come in and give their opinion as to what we're creating. And we had very good feedback. So the first one on effective communication had a customer satisfaction score of 82%. 96% said that they agree that the content is relevant. 86% said likely to recommend to colleagues, and high numbers on agreeing that learning is visually appealing, and also that they are taking away a lot of knowledge from this course. So it was very important to us to not just create something that was already out there in the market. We wanted to make sure this was different and addressed different issues, and made it therefore very valuable. And then the last one here was on the scope and change order management. In fact, it had slightly higher results than the first one. Customer satisfaction score was 83%, and then quite a few were 100%, which is excellent. And we're looking forward to the larger group comments, because we know then that it truly is representative of what the industry would be saying about what we're creating. So we're really excited. We think this is a game changer. The expert panel has been working really hard and dedicated, getting on calls late at night or early in the morning, and contributing greatly to this. So there's a few on the call. I think BTCS Rao and Kali Rajan is on here as well, together with Stephen. So thank you to each of them, and really look forward to getting your feedback when we release it as well. So I hope that was useful for you today.
Thank you very much, Ben, for the excellent presentation. For the lack of time, we'll probably take only one question. We just wanted to get your perspective on how much of digitalization of workflow has happened in the EPC and client organizations, and what, according to you, will be its impact going forward.
I think there's a lot more that we can do in that space. One of our modules, in fact, will be talking about technology being used in construction, and I'm looking forward to discussing that. I mean, look, I've used things like Aconex as sort of online collaborative systems that are really helping with that sort of thing. I believe there is a lot more that we can do, and I think it will make a very big impact when we have those discussions and determine exactly what can be done to improve the way that we run projects.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Another thing which people wanted to know is, how is PMI construction certification different from CCM of CMA? I'm not sure if you are aware of the abbreviations.
I am, but I'm not that familiar, so I probably would be best not to answer that. But we have done research on others, and that's why I was saying we really are making a concerted effort to do something that's different. And another big thing is, I mean, an advantage of PMI is that we're in 200 countries around the world. So yeah, a common issue as well was that, say, you're doing a project in one location and then you move somewhere else, and you have to start teaching people something new to them. So we wanted to have consistency in the skilled labor that was working on the project. Skilled labor, I am actually talking about project managers, construction managers, and people who are leading the projects.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Ben. I think
welcome, Ganesh.
We'll close this section now. And just as a small token of appreciation, we just wanted to present you this certificate, which obviously I'll be mailing you after this seminar. Excellent. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks.